Welcome to the Rich in Success podcast, the podcast that aims to define exactly what success means to you and gives you the tools to achieve this in your daily life. Hosted by action-taking mindset coach, world record holder, and successful entrepreneur Matt Hall. Each week, this show brings you motivation, education, and inspiration on how you can live a happier, more fulfilled, and more successful life. Are you ready to take your life to the next level? If so, this is the podcast for you. Now, let today's lessons begin.
Okay, welcome back everybody to the Rich in Success podcast. I'm joined today by elite business mentor, entrepreneur and Forex trader, Miss Hither Mann. Hither, thank you so much. How are you doing?
Thank you. You're so much positive energy and we share some common peeves. And so I love chatting to people like you. So thank you for having me on.
It's an absolute pleasure. Really appreciate your time. Now, we first connected, as we were just talking before we hit record, on Clubhouse, the new app that's kind of the in thing everybody's talking about. But literally, just yesterday, you've announced that you ain't going to be participating too much on that app. And I really want to dive into the reasons why. Let's go straight in at the deep end.
Absolutely. So I started off thinking, yeah, this could be interesting. And you get hooked because of the adrenaline, the kind of like, oh, wow, I'm speaking with a group of people that some of them I like, some of them I'm not sure who they are. But eventually it's just like, you give it a chance and some good things come out and you make new connections. I love the new connections that are actually solid. And then when you stick around for more than 4 hours, you hear mostly men and Americans, and sometimes, okay, I've got two categories. I'll go through the men and then I'll go through the females. So the male category is obsessively egocentric. They just go on about themselves for on a monotone many times. So, they literally just, I actually joined it because I absolutely love giving value. It was like my little, oh yeah, I feel good. The serotonin boost you get when you help. But when I jumped on this and I said, these people are just self-promoting and talking about, I made $1 million last week. Oh, I did it while I was asleep and just talk so much nonsense. And actually nobody cares because you want to help each other. So it became like a playground where everyone's just cliquey and, oh yeah, we like you. And I don't know that. I just don't I can't pretend and I can't be fake. So I just can't stand some of them, to be honest.
Do you know what? And this is exactly the reason I wanted you on this show, because the minute I heard you speak, I could just see it was absolute truth, authentic. And I was like, this is what we need to hear more of. I was like, I've only been on the app myself, maybe 2 weeks, something like that. And exactly the same thing. I was like, okay, this is great. But then very quickly you hear that the buzz phrase that disguises the ego and the sales is, I'm here to give value. There's people like yourself that are genuinely giving value. And then there's other people like, hey guys, I'm just here to give value, man. And also I've got this course and it's just you just want to gain more followers and then sell to them. There's nothing else.
Absolutely. In fact, most people are educators. And you know what? It's okay if they said, look, this is great. If I want to make more clients come my way, just be honest with it. Be honest and say, look, I have got something to sell you, but if you want it, it's there. But just pretending is annoying. And then I forgot to talk about the women very quickly. The women, they are absolute bitches behind the scene. Oh my God. I have never met so much bitch fest going on, because the last time I had to recall, when did I actually remember this kind of behavior? When I was 12. Was the last time I remember this. And there are these couple of girls that have zero value to give to anyone. They're literally on state benefits, single mothers, and on the moderation panel. I'm like, why are you even there under the millionaires giving value? You're not a millionaire. You don't have any qualifications to even be there, apart from you've literally digitally hoard yourself out to every male just so that you can become on the panel. So I absolutely can't stand women like that. And that's another reason. The quality is quite poor.
And I just want to say to anyone listening, that's maybe not too familiar with the app or that's just joined the app recently, this isn't me and Hither just going, oh yeah, let's just bitch about everybody. The reality is, there's a lot of people in this world that are just out for what they can get. And do your due diligence. There's a lot of people saying 8, 9, 10 figure earners, join me and I'll show you how to do it. Go on Company's House. research these people, because a lot of them, I've literally, me and my friend were having this conversation. There's people that have got like a company where they've only made $4,000 turnover. Like, there's a lot of fucking absolute lies. And the reason we're talking about this now, or one of the main reasons, is to say, like, please be careful, people. But, you know, because there's a lot of people that they know how to talk the talk, they look the part, and they can speak to your pain points and, you know, use all this jargon and be like, connect to you emotionally, and then be like, I've got the solutions, come join me. You got to be so careful.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to give you a heads up on how it works, if someone is wealthy, I'll give you a couple of tips. And this is what most people don't understand. Actually, they won't have their names on a directorship. That is one thing, because you protect your assets. And the biggest way to protect your assets, I've done this. I had my name on all my companies, and I've actually removed them years ago, because you can't ever lose them when you don't have your name on them, you know? So it's another asset protection thing. I learned this when I hit the circles of like very high wealth people, and they literally don't own anything, but they control everything on paper. So yes, be aware of that. So Companies House is great to say, yes, I have a company, but actually when you become super wealthy, they don't exist on Companies House, just so you know.
Got you. There's definitely a lot of bullshit artists, and that's the main thing to know about Clubhouse. But then there's also great people like you, and this is the thing. So we first connected, I heard you were speaking to Paris Hilton, and you was talking specifically about, you know, females in business and the lack of kind of role models out there that are sort of flying the flag for, listen, women, we can do this, we can earn a lot of money and that kind of thing. And I just thought, you know I've got a lot of female listeners on this show. I've also got a lot of clients that I work with, that I coach. And one of the things that I see time and time again is, particularly in females, is this massive limiting belief when it comes to earning big money, when it comes to being financially independent. And so I just want to really dive into this topic, because I just feel like this, you know, you are a woman that's done it, self-made. You've not been given loads of hand-me-downs and all that kind of stuff. Speak to my female listeners. Let's hear a little bit about your thoughts on the limiting beliefs.
Thank you so much. This is my favorite topic in the world, and I was using Clubhouse as my main platform to really elevate this mission, because I absolutely agree. I moved from the UK to Monaco and south of France, and you get the typical, you know, lady that is just a vulture that wants to find a rich man and just wait till he dies and take everything, you know, because it's the only country in the world you get zero inheritance tax, and your partner can give you everything, zero tax. So there's loads of them. And I actually was very naive and thought that, okay, I will go and help these women and show them they can make money. Yes, you know, and they actually don't want that help, which was really surprising. So that's where the Paris Hilton question came in. I said, how do you change their mindset? Because they literally only see that as an option to be wealthy. I absolutely hate it, obviously, because I came from nothing. And I do think the major reason for that is a cultural issue. We don't have role models. You know, I had no one. I used to look up to incredible men. Only later in my life everyone knows Oprah, Sarah Blakely. They were probably the only two that I could pinpoint in my life. And now we're getting new people coming up. And I thought, I want to be that. That's the only reason I jumped onto a platform where I could be a speaker back in 2013, to literally be a female version of what I wanted to see, because I used to complain about it, you know, and I thought, well, let's not moan, let's just be the change. But we need more of them. We still do. I still think it's lacking.
And I think that's really interesting that you said that people just don't want to, but it's because of the cultural beliefs, and it's because ultimately we make decisions based on what we see, right? Like, what's everyone else around us doing, and what does everyone else deem socially acceptable? And I think that certainly for a lot of clients that I work with, and a lot of females, is like, you know, they do want to do it themselves, but they actually just don't think they're capable of, because they're not seeing.
Yes. Okay. So to address that, and it's a really powerful topic, I honestly want them to be around. So seeing is believing, like you said. So I actively coach women. I said, right, tell me some powerhouse women. And it could be even a fictitious character like Jessica Pearson from Suits. You know, she's like a powerhouse, right? And she was supposed to be played by a male, just so you know. And they replaced her and they put her in and said, no, I think she'll do better. So I love that whole story. And in fact, she is my ideal role model, because I can't find a human real version of that anywhere. So that was like my idea of, she's glamorous, she's powerful, she makes the men do what the hell she wants and they still listen, and she doesn't give a shit if they don't like her. Like, that's incredibly powerful. So we need examples. And the reason why women don't see themselves able to do it, because we also get so much hate. For example, go back to Joan of Arc days. I mean, if you recall the story of she was burnt at the stake, because, you know, it's famously known that she was burnt at stake because she went to war when she was a female, and they thought, oh my God, she's a witch. She's doing something quite masculine, you know, like quick, kill her. So that was the general concept of when men and women. So the problem is, it's not men. I actually have had more support from men than females in my lifetime, but they have to be very open-minded and, you know, not misogynistic. However, women are sometimes very jealous. They go inwards rather than lifting you up. They don't like men around men when men, this is the problem with women. When men have got good competition, so Clubhouse could be an example, you know, like men just telling each other how great they are. They kind of use that testosterone fueled environment to pull each other up. Women become bitches. They start pulling each other down and say, no, I don't want her coming in. She's going to steal my thunder. Let's tell everyone to not like her. I have seen that happen. It's actually happened to me. Like that single mother type of female doesn't like me being the outspoken, and she's like, oh, she's looking more powerful than me. That's the problem with women. And, you know, it's a shame that we don't, I support strong women, and I want more women to be open to helping each other. But it is a cultural thing and a human behavioral issue. So we don't see it enough, and therefore we're not comfortable with it. And secondly, some weird physiology in our body makes us more jealous than supportive when we see other female powerhouses. It's all, we're actually quite egocentric we're more like cats, you know, like territorial, like, oh yeah, this is my area, nobody can come here. And like, I don't like that. I really don't like that. I wish women can stop being like that. And when they are able to, then I feel like we'll slowly see a shift. But we need more powerhouse women just to be open about money, success, and like, yeah, I did it myself, thanks. And I don't care if you don't like it, you know?
Yeah. Exactly that, because this is the thing that I've seen, is that when you just start to adopt the right beliefs, like anything becomes possible. Obviously with the right hard work and the right support and whatever. But the main thing is, everything starts with belief. And I think one of the things you touched upon there is like that whole, I know it's cliche to talk about, but fear of judgment. What are other people going to say? What are other people going to think? We might not even know what they say. It's just what they might think about us. And it's that need to be liked and not hated that I think people prioritize over their need of what they want. And this is the thing, like, as soon as I heard you talk, I was like, fucking yes. Like, I love her. She doesn't give a fuck what anybody thinks. This is a woman who stands on her own 2 feet, goes out, gets what she wants, and will say it how it is. But presumably, you're not just born being mega confident and not giving a fuck what anybody thinks. So share a little bit of that for us, please, about how do you deal with hate? How do you deal with other people's perceptions of you?
Great question. You really have got the best. The listeners, for your listeners, have got the best content just because of the way you ask questions. Well done. And yeah, how I deal with hate. So, okay, I have always never fitted in, and I've been well, and I always used to be the why person. So as the annoying kid growing up, like, but why? Why is it like this? You know, like, oh, we have to go home at this time, but why? We can't have this car, but why? You know, and I was like that annoying child that constantly questioned things. So that's the origin. But I also was a very anxious kid, I recall, because I actually used to have this like sense of emotion. I could pick up emotions as a kid. I used to walk into a room and be able to tell, oh my God, that person's really unhappy, like an adult. I don't even know how I could do that. I had this intuition. I think it's intuition. So intuition has been my biggest guiding force. I'm actually a very spiritually connected person, so I can tell if everything sits well. So like, for example, herd mentality can't get through to me. Clubhouse is the biggest fucking herd going at the moment, right? So I can sit in that place, watch the bullshit, and I can stand apart quite easily because I've never tried to fit in. I've never been that kid at school that wanted to be the popular one. I always was like, yeah, this is I own my own shit and I'm different. And I used to be quite popular because I was so strong-minded, but not because I wanted validation. So I learned very quickly that these people, the majority of people, don't have a clue what they're doing in life. And I was quite okay doing the opposite and being different. So I have been a weird kid. That's short answer. But how I deal with hate is in a similar fashion, I guess, knowing that where does that hate come from? So I try not to hold resentment towards people. I can be like very open about how the reality is. I don't give a shit if people like me or not, but I like them. I give people a chance, so if someone says, oh, you know what, you're, I don't know, let's say a scam or this, that, the other. I'm like, okay, so why are they thinking that? Okay, maybe because they've seen scam profiles and someone has scammed them over money, or maybe they haven't, and maybe they can't handle all the power that I'm making them feel insecure. So I really understand where is this coming from in them. And I understand it's always an insecurity, something that's rocking the boat, making them feel uncomfortable. And then let's not be naive. Let's remember people like to be liked, like you said. And if you're different, you're never going to get that validation, from a majority of people. So if you want to be a leader in life, you have to be okay with people not liking you. And the last thing is, I mean, you can see I like reading books, but I study the greatest people in the world from way before time, like way before like my lifetime. And every single one of them, the reason they made history is because they were fucking different. They got hate, and no one cared about them. And everyone said you're a psychopath and you should just stay in your lane and blah, blah, blah. And it's those kind of people that create history, that create movements, that create like acceptance for every other human being. So it's actually counterintuitive to want to fit in. I feel like nothing can move forward in life if you try and fit in.
I love the way you just said that, counterintuitive to want to fit in. You've just like hit the nail on the head. And if you're listening to this now, please, like, identify, is the main thing holding you back from what you want the fear of judgment, the fact that you want to be liked? Because we all naturally want to be liked. It's not that Hither and myself don't want to be liked. It would be nice, given the choice. It's nice to be liked. But it's about like identifying what you actually want out of life, what you're capable of, and what you stand for. I think when you stand for something bigger than a bandwagon or a hype or a trend, like, you're going to get unpopular before you get popular because it goes against the grain. And I think it's that. I think it's having perspective. Like, what people create belief system based on what they know. And when you go against that, it scares them. It's like, oh, this isn't what I believe and this isn't what I know. I think once you get perspective, once you get clarity on who you are, what you stand for, what it is you're working towards, literally you can just detach from it and see it for what it is, right?
Absolutely. And look, there are amazing people like you and people that will be like, yeah, you know what? I get her and I get him and I want to be, I'm like, they fully accept you. So those, even though they're not like the masses of herds, which, let's be honest, who wants the herd following you? They're not quality people, are they? So you
Correct.
I'm happy to have like friends on one hand, my best friends, I know I can really trust. I don't need more than that. And I'm happy. Like, I don't need 50 people being my best friend. I just need like less than 5.
It's the insecure people that need it, right? Like, they think that's where happiness is validation. It's really interesting as well. I think when you have this mindset, when you stop putting all the pressure on, I need to play the likability game, and you stand for something bigger, it feels like, in my experience, and I can see clearly from yours, more people start to like you, like over time, because you stand for something more than just the normal bullshit. And I think, so by default, like, people, you will become more liked in time just by being you. The more you're you, truthfully, honestly, without the crap, you're going to get liked anyway. You'll get hate as well, but that's human beings, right?
Yeah. And I think everyone who has been successful, I've had mentors in the past that have advised me about hate, and they said, well, if you're not getting any hate, you're not really doing anything substantial in life. So it's so important to actually, that's like a really good feedback for me to say, oh, wow, I'm moving forward in life. I get excited when I get new hate. I'm like, yes. Initially, it would terrify me. Like, maybe like 10 years ago, I'd be like, oh my God, shit, people don't like me. Because I was a bit naive, let's face it, everyone is at one point. But it just slowly, I'm talking about online hate, because don't forget now, online hate is the easiest. Like, people not liking you face to face is easy. Like, you get less of that in life because you just deal with it. And actually, let's be honest as well, that if someone who didn't like you came face to face with you, it's unlikely they'll be that vindictive. But you put them online, they'll be a little shit, weren't they? So,
to put it bluntly, yes. It's the keyboard warrior thing, isn't it? Anyone can do what they want behind a keyboard. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's another area that you should take on a note for your listeners, is to never take seriously the keyboard warriors, because you know what, it's just like free reign, and they're just having a shit day, and they hate them like their lives, and they can go crazy to town on this. But when it's a face-to-face, it's never as bad. So I always encourage someone, if it is someone you think is talking shit about you, have a little chat with them, you know, and see if you really want to settle any bad vibes, then you'll find it's very easy to have that combo face-to-face. They're unlikely to say anything.
Yeah, 100%. And also, I love what you said, you know, about 10 years ago, it would have probably bothered you. This is why I talk a lot about on this show. You know, if you want to build a brand, if you want to build a business, like a big part of it is personal development, is becoming the person who can cope with it and handle it. And it does take time. And that's why it's so important to do that kind of work, you know, on yourself. It's not just about literally the business. You got to be the person that can handle all the bullshit and see it for what it is.
And a quick exercise for people thinking, how the hell do I do that though? And the fastest way I've done it is by watching people that, even though, okay, I've met Donald Trump once back in 2012, and I always used to find him quite fascinating before he became president, because the guy got so much hate. And then when I read all his books, I've got them on my shelf. Since 2004, I was in property, so I had all of his books, and he's very good at business. He's a bit of a, you know, cutthroat guy. And he was the first person that really stood out to me that was okay with hate. And, you know, he just gave back as good as he got. And I used to think, well, the guy's doing very well and he's okay with hate. And it's like, you know, I actually admired people that could take so much hate on and still keep moving forward. You didn't see them flinch or like, you know, like feel like they'll get thrown back. They used to just powerhouse. They were like fully going forward with no hesitation. And that type of, when you really understand successful people, you realize that it's actually down to how they deal with this stuff. Yeah. So you can find them anywhere. Like, find a famous person. Everyone famous and big in the limelight has had hate, but then watch how they've dealt with it with grace, with, you know, in fact, the best thing is like, they don't react, which I love, you know, and that was what made me think, okay, so that's how I deal with hate. You know, don't react, give a shit, just keep doing my thing. And in fact, people are so fickle. So the rest of the world is fickle as hell. So if you give into that and start being like defensive and trying to like, oh yeah, but this person's wrong, I'm right. I mean, that's where Donald Trump got a lot of, you know, people like, you're looking a bit weak here sometimes, you know, when as a president, he was a bit childish. But when others like Barack Obama, who I actually really like respect, his composure, he never fell into that negativity. He constantly just lets it, yeah, you know what, I'm going to keep my chin up, my head, my shoulders back, and keep doing what I do. And that's what actually makes a fickle people win over. They get won over again, because within a day or two, they're like, wow, the guy's still super confident, so let's just forget about the rest, you know. So you got to remember, these people they're so fickle, like the rest of the world, so fickle. So we don't need to worry about them.
And what's so interesting is they forget about it overnight. Like, they hate you 1 minute and they're going to forget, because everyone's too caught up in their own shit anyway. So if you take that to heart and make decisions based on it, like, it's just going to cripple you. Just fucking keep going. Now, listen, we've talked about dealing with hate. We've talked about like being empowered. We've talked about you've got to become the person, deal with personal development. Now let's talk about getting filthy fucking rich, like from a lady that's literally, you know, done it off your own back. Tell us a little bit about your story. You know, did you always have the desire for money? And importantly, you know, how have you done it?
Okay, so I knew from the age of 9 that I had to be filthy rich. Why? Because I was this intuitive weird kid. Remember, I could read emotions. I wasn't like this dumb kid that just floats around thinking everything was happy. I actually remember unhappy parents. Like, my parents used to argue a lot, and it was always about money. And my dad used to pretty much every single day talk about how depressed he was because he didn't have money. So it was like, you couldn't escape that, you know. So I thought, okay, I need to be rich, so then this bullshit will stop. I was just naive, thinking that money buys happiness. It buys power. So from the age of 16, I started earning money first, and like I blagged my way into high paid jobs. This is before I was a university person. So long story short, I went to university, had a degree, and I started being a professional medical person. I smashed the highest level pay in the country for that. But within 3 months, I realized I'm not going to become a millionaire being in a job. So I then went into property, again, networking groups. So Clubhouse, but in person people. That was where life changed. So I do like these networking events, and I actually learned from a property mentor how to get into property. So I built multi-million-pound property portfolio in the UK, and by 2008 I was pretty much retired. The crash didn't affect me, I was okay, but I couldn't buy any more properties in 08 because the mortgages just stopped for like 9 months. And that's when I, by accident, got into financial trading. So I tried it myself, failed. I found a mentor in London, and that was a trader, and I had to pay him 7.8 million from property portfolio stuff. It was a consortium, and I was involved in auctions. I used to supply auctions, so I made a lot of money quite young in property. But I then went into financial trading, and that's when my life changed, because I could make money with a laptop and be anywhere. And that was like so powerful for me. One thing I didn't realize was how flexible my life could be. So I made the same money I made in a month in 2 hours. So I was like, what the hell? This is like a game changer, you know? So I just kept going deeper into that circle. Now I'm in the world of hedge funds. I've moved to Monaco. I live here now, and I am taking companies public. So how to get rich? Long story short, find rich people, hang around with them, and they are your mentors. And, you know, stay a student, because I never ever thought I knew it all. And even till now, I'm constantly learning. I love what I do. But I did martial arts for 17 years. So that's what made me tough. So actually, what makes you really tough is if you can do a combat sport, if you're good in like fitness or whatever, but I feel like that stuff gives you an edge, because the endurance mentally there gave me the edge in business, because I wasn't scared of men. I wasn't scared of, you know, these alpha people that were just intimidating for most women. I just used to love actually beating the guys and doing better than them in their own game. So that's what my journey is about.
Absolutely love that. And I think, you know, finding a mentor, finding a coach, this is one of the things I've heard, you know, one of the great things that's reaffirmed one of my beliefs from people like yourself in Clubhouse, you know, the people that are genuinely doing amazing, is they don't ever feel like they know it all. They always see the value in having mentors and coaches that are one step ahead and things like that. So I think that's a really, you know, really valuable thing to remember. And it's that old saying, you know, sports people have coaches and singers have singing coaches, etc., etc. I think like we need coaches for business and life, right? I think like there's nothing wrong with that, and it's one of the best investments you can make. I'm aware of the time, so I just want to jump through a couple of things pretty quick. But you've got the Fortune Academy and also the Billionaire Project. Can you just tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah, thank you so much. So Fortune Academy is my brand that is a wealth education company. We're the first lifetime education. That means you pay once and you forever get mentorship in whatever program. And what we teach is exactly what I do. So, okay, except for property, because I feel like that's the easiest one. So I try and go for the hardest stuff first. So financial trading, which I really feel gives people a way of making money around a job. So I don't want them to just feel like it's difficult. Financial trading is tough, but it's easy to start. That's the beauty. You just need a laptop, you know, learn strategies and implement. Mindset is key. So hence we do lifetime training. Then I teach them how to start businesses. And I love the mindset coaching that comes with business. And I have a separate thing for the mindset program itself. So the peak performance coaching I do with, for example, Credit Suisse bankers. I forgot to mention that, but Credit Suisse pay me to take their bankers from 500 million to 1 billion, you know, like, because they know that these guys need someone to really kick them up the backside, and that's me. So that's why I'm used to speaking to like crazy people, you know, like they're like top level performers. So I'm used to just getting, you know, everyone around me is a billionaire, etc., and they all are the same. They all, in my opinion, need that same mental push. You know, people are lazy, or there's always something that's holding them back. So the Billionaire Project, for the first time ever, I'm bringing 10 people on, and I've got them all now, but they applied to come with me through the journey of buying companies, taking them public. I'm giving them 30% in profit. So watch this journey is all I'm going to say. From January to December, you're going to see shitloads of money being created in these 10 people based on my help. They're great people. They're all business owners. They're just entrepreneurial people. And I've trained them. Like they've been hand selected from hundreds. So I know they're like my little soldiers, if that makes sense. And we're gonna create. I see them as equals. So we're gonna, I'm the strategist, and I've got my network. I give them my hedge funds and my family offices to work with, and we literally just put everything together. And wow, the money is gonna be huge. So I wanted to document that, because when people see the results made, I could really be very selective in the future of who I take even again. It's like a challenge for me, like rather than me just doing it on my own, which is easy, but I needed someone to kind of take with me. I just feel like it's more exciting when you've got a group of 10, that the pressure's on me as well now to get them to be super wealthy. So their net worth is going to be exponentially growing this year. We've already had people. I did a 30 million pound deal yesterday just because I was off Clubhouse. See what happens when you don't use Clubhouse.
There you go, people.
So I'm putting my time and effort into areas that are very, very high return. And I think the people that are on the journey in the Billionaire Project are going to just be screaming off the rooftops and talking about it too. So you're going to hear a lot about them.
So excited. I'm so excited. That's absolutely amazing. Okay, just before we finish up, we've got the quick fire section, which, by the way, I actually never want to be quick fire because I'm always intrigued into why you said the answer you've said. So feel free to expand. But basically, it's a this or that option, and you pick the one that applies to you. So question number 1, 2 coffees a day or no caffeine in your diet?
2 coffees at the moment, because I know I only have them before 3 p.m.
You have a caffeine curfew, yeah?
Yeah.
Perfect. Next one, weights or cardio?
Weights, because, you need cardio after weights, really, if you were doing it. But weights is the game changer, because if you understand science, you know that nothing works unless you do weights.
Beauty. Okay, next one, city life or country life?
Oh, easy. Country life. I will go insane. I'd probably jump off a building if I was in the city that much.
That's mad as well. Everyone will look at you on Instagram and see all the glossy pictures and be like, oh, she's definitely a city girl. Absolutely not. Love it. Next question is meditation or reading?
Oh, I love reading. I'm better at reading than meditation. I would love to be equal.
Okay. 4 hours sleep a night or 10 hours sleep?
Definitely 10. I think mental health is linked to sleep. Wow, I'm big about that. So more sleep, please.
Listen, all you hustling entrepreneurs that think that you'll sleep when you're dead. This woman's done it and she's saying sleep. Next one, build a brighter future or become more at peace with your past?
Oh, brighter future. I think if you dwell on your past too much, it just is toxic. I teach people how to get over toxic things in about 4 minutes. So you don't need to dwell on your past for more than 4 minutes.
Boom. Amazing answer. And the final one is being broke but in love or wealthy and alone?
Wealthy and alone. No one's broke and in love for long.
Is the correct answer. Yes, absolutely love it. Hither, I just want to acknowledge you. I think you're an awesome human being. Thank you for being that empowering spokesperson, role model out there. Thank you for being authentic. Thank you for being so fucking honest with your truth. It's been a pleasure. Most of all, thank you for your time today. I really, really appreciate it. Just before you go, if people want to catch up with you and follow you, where's the best places to find you online?
My best is definitely Instagram. I use it the most. I interact with people the most. It's at Hitherman. So yeah, find me and talk to me there. But you're great. I love the questions. You honestly adding so much value just with the kind of questions you ask. So Matt, you're amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And that wasn't just a sale on Clubhouse by saying we're adding value. We're genuinely trying to help people here, right? Okay, beauty. And the final question, just before we finish, that I ask all the guests. Hitherman, what is your definition of success?
Mental and physical freedom.
Beautiful. Hither, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're great.
Well, there you go. I hope you found that another valuable episode. Don't forget, we've now got 127 episodes of this podcast. If you're new to us, make sure you go back through the archives. We've got many, many fantastic guests, including top professional athletes, TV stars, pop stars, entrepreneurs, authors, coaches, doctors, nutritionists, and so much more. Go back through the back catalogue, make sure that you've subscribed and that you keep tuning in every single week, where I give you another conversation with a range of different guests, as well as providing some free coaching every single week as well, to help you live a happier, healthier, more successful and more fulfilled life. Don't forget, if you think that there's somebody you know that would take value from listening to this podcast, make sure you drop them a little message, drop them a cheeky DM with the link to this podcast. Would really, really massively appreciate you helping me to help others on a large scale, so that we can spread the word and help more people become inspired to live their very, very best life. Guys, thank you as always for checking out this show. Now it's the important part. Remember, the podcast is only valuable to you if you go out there and immediately take massive action on what you've learned today. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time as the journey of self-discovery and personal growth continues.
Thank you so much for listening to today's Rich in Success episode. If this episode has impacted you, there's a few things we need you to do in order to help us make a wider positive change. Please spread the word. Tell a friend that you think will benefit from our message. Subscribe to the show on your chosen podcast platform and give the show a 5-star rating and review. Don't forget to like our social media pages and tag us on your Instagram stories. Your support means the world. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time as the journey of personal growth and self-discovery continues.